Welcome to English Stories by Manvi Sharma, where simple stories create powerful lessons. Hello everyone, and welcome back. Today I am going to share a slow, emotional, and heart-touching Indian moral story about hope, self-worth, and the quiet light we carry inside ourselves. As we explore this beautiful tale together, I invite you to slow down, take a deep breath, and really reflect on the visual journey we are about to take. Today's story is called The Old Lamp in the Village. It is a beautiful story that reminds us that true value never disappears, even when the world changes around us. Light, hope, and self-worth, these are concepts we all struggle with, and concepts this story illustrates so perfectly. Let's set the scene. Picture a peaceful Indian village, perfectly surrounded by lush green fields and quietly flowing rivers. In this beautiful place lived an old man named Hari. Hari was an incredibly proud lamp maker. For so many years, he crafted these stunning oil lamps entirely by hand. You could almost feel the calm, slow pace of his world in every piece he made. His handcrafted lamps were actually famous in the nearby villages, and people absolutely loved the warm, flickering glow they brought to all their festivals and celebrations. But, well, you know how it is. As time passed, everything changed. Handcrafted oil lamps suddenly found themselves competing with modern electric lights. The world outside was just moving faster, and that speed eventually reached Hari's quiet village. Electric lights arrived. Shops started selling these brightly colored, very modern lamps. Slowly, almost without anyone noticing, people stopped buying Hari's traditional, handcrafted pieces. Day after day, fewer customers came by, and little by little, the joyful hum of Hari's small shop was replaced by a really heavy, unbroken silence. Yet, despite all of that, every single morning, Hari still opened his tiny shop near the old banyan tree. He carefully, lovingly cleaned the dusty lamps. He arranged them so neatly on his wooden shelves, and then he just sat quietly, waiting. But very few people stopped by. Sometimes kids would walk past, laugh, and say, "Who uses old oil lamps anymore?" Those words hurt Hari deeply. I mean, think about how that feels. Have you ever poured your entire heart into something, only to have the world just walk right past it? He felt completely ignored by the adults and mocked by the youth. At night, he would sit alone outside his shop, just staring into the fading light of one small lamp. For the very first time in his long, hard-working life, Hari began feeling completely useless. He thought to himself, maybe people no longer need me. It is a quiet, devastating question, isn't it? It's that profound crisis of self-worth that so many of us face when we feel left behind by a rapidly changing world. Hari isn't just a lamp maker in this story. He really represents anyone who has ever felt replaced or forgotten. But then, the atmosphere in the village shifted drastically. One evening, heavy, dark rain clouds completely covered the sky. Thunder echoed loudly across the entire village. Soon, a terrible storm arrived. Strong winds shook the houses violently. Trees were bending dangerously under the force of the gale. And then, suddenly, the entire village lost electricity. Everything was swallowed by complete and utter darkness. Homes, roads, shops, all plunged into an unfamiliar, terrifying blackness. Fear spread rapidly everywhere. You could hear children crying out, completely frightened by the sudden void. People struggled to see, feeling entirely helpless and paralyzed without those modern lights they had grown so used to depending on. But right in that exact moment of panic, Hari quietly stood up. He didn't hesitate for a second. First, he lit every single oil lamp inside his shop one by one. Warm golden lights began to push back the darkness. Next, Hari carried those lamps out into the streets, placing them so carefully near homes and small shops. Slowly, other villagers saw his quiet courage and stepped out to help him. Together, they lit hundreds of lamps. The dark village suddenly glowed with warmth and peace. It was literally nothing short of magical. Children who had been crying just moments before actually began to smile again. Families felt safe. The entire village, which had been so terrified just moments prior, looked absolutely beautiful and comforted under the soft, golden light of Hari's life's work. The villagers eventually gathered around Hari. An elderly woman walked toward him, with tears welling in her eyes. She softly said to him, "Your lamps did what electricity could not. You brought light when we needed it most." In that moment, after so many long years of silence and doubt, people truly, deeply appreciated his work again. Hari looked at the glowing lamps around him, and suddenly, he understood something incredibly important. He understood the meaning of true value, the enduring worth of old things that reveals itself when the world needs it most. What you should really take away from this is that your inherent worth isn't dictated by passing trends. Just like Hari's lamps, your unique skills and your inner light have a permanent value. They are never truly useless. Sometimes their true value simply waits for the exact moment the world needs the most. From that day forward, the people began respecting Hari again, not because his lamps were modern, but because they carried warmth, care, and tradition. Young children even started coming around to learn the craft of lamp making from him. Every evening, Hari's little shop glowed beautifully once again. But this time, his heart glowed too. Your value does not disappear because the world changes. Sometimes your greatest strength shines brightest during difficult times. Because even an old lamp can light up an entire village. What is the quiet light you carry, just waiting for its perfect moment to shine?